George Floyd's death in Minneapolis on May 25, 2020, became a global catalyst for justice, highlighting systemic racism and policing issues. 5 years later, the city continues to confront this legacy through mourning, resistance, healing, and the pursuit of equity and transformation.
The events of May 25th, 2020 changed Minneapolis forever. The murder of George Floyd was unacceptable. It was horrific, but it was also emblematic of a whole lot of other issues that clearly we needed to address. So since then, we've been hard at work around creating accountability and reform and truly seeing change. Not just getting back to the old normal, but by blowing by that old normal to see true transformation in our city.
5 years ago, Minneapolis was a symbol of what's broken in policing. But now, we're becoming a blueprint for what is possible. Our goal is to make change real for how people experience policing on the street. That means doing more than the minimum to comply with a consent decree, and it includes updates to policy and training that are informed by our community. We are implementing strategies to urgently reduce crime while earning community trust so that every resident can feel safe.
George Floyd's murder was a collective trauma for our entire city. It laid bare what many of us have known for a very long time, that we need more than traditional policing for us to truly be safe. That's why we've invested in prevention programs, alternative response models, and restorative justice initiatives. This holistic approach is crucial for long-term community safety. We understand that police reform is a process and it will take time. We have started to see some progress, but we know that there is more work to be done.
2020 social unrest highlighted some of the gaps we had in our community safety responses, really in 3 big areas, and we made a lot of changes. Those areas are preventative services, responsive services, and restorative services. Our goal for the city is to improve our safety and well-being for our residents.
The future of public space is being shaped by community input. The former 3rd Precinct will become the Minneapolis Democracy Center, a place for civic engagement. At George Floyd Square, the People's Way and street improvement projects will memorialize this space and serve the broader community.
We're building a city in which everyone feels valued and respected. The new community safety centers are just one way in which we're bringing the right response at the right time.
What the community still needs is truth-telling and courage. To know that we can tell the truth of the moral violation that occurred in our city, and to know that we have the courage to confront that reality with tangible actions to transform our system of public safety.
I believe from the experiences that I have as a police officer for 20 years in my previous department, in a city that had been known for very high levels of crime and violence and very poor police-community relations, I was able to lead reform under a consent decree there and also help reduce crime in a significant way. And I felt like that made me uniquely qualified to come here to Minneapolis, and I believe that I am here on purpose to do just that.
Racial equity and healing is at the heart of our work. Our partnership with StoryCorps is a huge part of this, documenting the diverse perspectives of our residents. These stories will serve as a powerful archive for future generations.
We at the City of Minneapolis recognize the importance of acknowledging the pain and trauma we have all experienced. We will keep talking, sharing, and moving forward together so we can end systemic racism.
Racial healing is about addressing racism at the individual, community, and systemic level. At the individual level, this means taking the time to have our personal reflections about the impacts of race and racism in our own lives. At the community level, it's about how do we, as residents, as community members of the city of Minneapolis, think about the impacts that racism has had on our community. StoryCorps and the Police and Black Men Project are some of the initiatives within the city of Minneapolis. Addressing racial healing at the systemic level involves looking at our policies, our programs, and our budgets with the racial equity lens to undo the impacts that racism has caused through policies that have been created.
Our journey towards a more just and equitable Minneapolis is unfinished.
We invite you to learn more about our challenges, our progress, and our commitment to positive change.